Baby girl. No.
Hello. So, oh look at Vode. Bless him. Okay, so we were. I don't know how to start it. Okay, so basically, me and Briggy talk a lot, and we wanted to share like a journal / diary of our journey into parenthood. So we're now how many weeks?
35.
35 weeks, and realized along the way that there's a lot of questions and a lot of things that I was curious about to ask her but didn't, and looking online I couldn't find the answers, so I had to eventually just ask her. And so we thought it'd probably be best if we got these things out and share them with you and everyone else. So, hello.
Hi.
This is Bella. Okay, so I guess the first question I want to ask you is, obviously it's the first time you've been pregnant, I hope. Is it what you expected? Like, is your pregnancy the way you expected it to be when you thought about being pregnant before?
I guess some of it. Like, I always thought that I'm gonna get really fat,
Okay,
which was always my biggest concern.
right.
But I thought it's gonna be a lot worse. I think I always thought it's gonna be really just, I don't know, it's just my body's gonna change a lot, and it's gonna be, my mood's gonna be up and down, and I'm gonna go through a lot more. And I mean, obviously I've been through a lot,
Yeah.
but I think it's been pretty easy for me. I've been pretty lucky.
How have you been with your body changing? Because I know, because obviously it happens slowly.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't really. Hold on, let me grab my coffee. So for me, I don't really see it happening, and then you don't really mention it
Oh,
that much.
God.
She's kicking.
Yeah, she's trying to alien her way out. The thing is, it's like it hasn't happened until now, until recently.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, I remember I couldn't wait for my bump to grow, and remember, like I was always
Yeah.
checking, like, oh, when is it gonna grow, and oh, it hasn't changed, and it's not big enough, and blah blah blah. And then I thought, you know, and everybody was like, oh wow, like you have such a small bump, like you. And then now, in month 8,
Yeah.
the bump just doubled.
Happened overnight.
And so did like the rest of my weight.
Yeah.
It just all of a sudden kind of just put on a lot of weight, which they do say in the last trimester is when you put on the most weight, because, you know, the baby has reached, you know, she's got most of her things going on. She just needs to grow in size.
Yeah.
Now everything's working fine. It's fully developed, but she just needs to grow in size, and then I grow in size. And so now this is when I start to feel like I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, I'm fat. And I used to think pregnant women were like, I'm so fat. And I'm like, yeah, but you're pregnant. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's true, but you still feel it. Like,
So it is like annoying in a way.
it is a little bit. But I try to remind myself, which I think everybody should do, is that it's completely normal. And then afterwards, if I'm willing to put into work, then I can go back to what I was
Right.
before for the most part.
So do you sometimes catch yourself if you feel a bit down or feel a bit bad about how your weight's changing? Do you then feel guilty because you feel bad?
I do.
Because it's because of Bella.
Yeah, exactly. You immediately feel guilty because you're like, oh no, I can't say that because it's for my child. So, you know, and obviously you do anything for your child. So it's
Yeah.
like, if I put on weight, it's a vanity thing, and then it makes you feel so shallow.
Yeah.
But, and it is what
I
it
think-
is too. It's like, I shouldn't let, you know, the pressure of gaining weight get in the way of the idea of what a great experience this is, and how like happy
Yeah.
we are to go through this.
And I think it's important that, you know, it's normal to feel a bit shitty about the fact that your weight has changed.
Yeah,
Do you know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no one... Because for me, I try to get my head around thinking what it must be like having your body go through so many changes. Like, not just the fact that you've got like a little baby inside you growing, which is like crazy, but also your body's doing all these funky things
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that in the beginning, and everybody that when it's the first time, you'll probably go through this. It's that in the beginning you're very excited, and then you expect certain things, and then not everything is up to your expectation. And then especially if for me, because I was carrying it so well, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm gonna be one of those girls that can just
get away with it,
just get a little bump and just look all cute and be or whatever. And I was that until like very recently.
So up to how many weeks did you feel like that?
I think up to like about a month ago, like up until like the 7-month mark, 6 months, 7 months. But now in the 8th month, in the past month, I would say that.
Because I remember you were saying earlier on how, because obviously you got loads of compliments about how good you look and how you're carrying it so well and you hardly even look pregnant. And I remember how you were saying like how on the sides it wasn't going out.
Yeah.
And that it was literally just from the side, like when your side profile you could see the bump.
Yeah.
And then it was just the other day you were saying like now you can see it coming out on the side.
Yeah, exactly. And I can feel her kind of, she's just everywhere. Yeah, it's something that, and then because my expectations were that, I set myself up to think, oh yeah, I'm just gonna be, cute the whole time, and then when I'm not, I'm like, oh no, and then this is what I realized, like at the end of the day, it shouldn't have even mattered to begin with. Right. And it's something that people need to remind themselves, like.
That's Vader drinking in the back. That's Vader slurping his water.
But yeah, if it happens, it happens, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. If you carry your pregnancy amazingly and you're, lucky and you look great the whole time and just gain a little bit of a bump and everything else is perfect and wonderful, and if not, then no. Like at the end of the day, I've been very lucky regardless, because she's been healthy the whole time. I've been healthy the whole time. Haven't had any problems, any complications, anything other than what the average pregnant woman goes through. Which is, the normal hormone changes, your skin, changes a little bit, and you get, the average things. But there was nothing, like, I've been so lucky. Not once did we have a scare about anything or a worry of anything.
So what can a guy do, right? Because I'm very aware that you might be going through stuff which I don't even understand. And if I want to compliment you on the way you look, we have dogs.
It's good timing.
If I want to fade it out, if I want to compliment you on the way you look, how are you gonna receive that if you don't feel like you're looking your best? Do you know what I mean? Like, are you ever gonna feel like I'm just saying that because, or is it better just to say it anyway?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna say it anyway because I want to.
Then that's always better, and it's always important, because at the end of the day, if you never say it, then I'm sure eventually I would wonder, which I haven't yet, because you always do say it, so I don't know what it's like, what it must be like, but I'm sure if I would never hear it, I would probably eventually think, as much as I, convince myself that it's not like that, eventually everybody falls down of the, oh my god, like, is it, is it bad, like, is that why he's not, saying anything? So I think you can never go wrong with complimenting somebody and saying nice things, even if they don't, because...
What, mean it?
No, even if I don't feel it or think, if I think like, okay. But I'd still rather, and I'm sure most people would feel that, and in the back of their head know that, still, like, that was nice, as opposed to just not
I guess it's a way of showing that you care as well.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Giving the compliment.
Exactly, because you understand that my body's going through changes, and that's fine. Yeah. And we both know it's fine, but it's always nice to hear it.
I mean, it's difficult as well, like, as the bloke, not to, like, because obviously the women go through a lot more, but as the bloke, you go through stuff in a way, like, a little bit on your own, because you're not with the baby. Yeah. And because, like, you and Bella have now been together for nearly 9 months, like, you know her better than I do. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But, so, like, how recently she's been kicking a lot more. Yeah. And stuff like that. And then so a couple of weeks ago, Briggy went quite quiet first thing in the morning. And she's usually very happy in the morning. And so I was like, what's wrong? What's happened? And she just kept very quiet. And then we spoke that evening and found out that it was because Bella wasn't moving much in the morning. So how often will that happen, that Bella won't move, and then you feel... Because I can't tell. Yeah. But then obviously I guess you don't want to tell me every time.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about it every time, right? Well, that was something that once you start feeling the movements in the beginning, it takes time to... It takes time to get used to the pattern, because every baby's different, so every mother will feel the pattern of their own baby and will learn it eventually.
Right.
Which in the beginning was, you know, it was just like I could barely tell. I was like, oh my god, am I feeling it? Is this it? Is this it? And then when it slowly became like, okay, it's obviously it, because I could see it from the outside and so on. And then when it kind of becomes, when she became bigger and the movements became more obvious, for a while there, she had like a pattern. She had, you know, times when I was used to her moving and I knew, you know, at what time of the day, more or less, how much she's gonna move.
Yeah.
And first thing in the morning, I always felt her. But then, just like with everything, it changes. And as she grows and there's less space, and also, you know, as she develops, she sleeps, apparently at this stage now, she sleeps longer periods and moves for longer periods than she did before. So before it would kind of be like, she would move and then she would be quiet, and then now it's more so like I feel her move for a solid hour, you know, like on and off, and then just nothing for a while, for a good hour again.
Which is scary.
Which was the very first time when I didn't feel her first thing in the morning immediately. I was like, okay, why? And then obviously they tell you to lay on your side, and then you have to wait up to an hour, maybe 2 hours, depends. And then, so then it feels like an eternity, but after probably about 20 minutes, I felt her. Not even 20 minutes, maybe. And then it happened again, and then I thought, well, it happened yesterday, so let me just kind of work it out. And then since then, now she has a new pattern, but maybe next month, or the last stretch of it, she'll have a different pattern because she's getting ready, you know, to come out or whatever. So it's just something that, but when I was concerned, I think the first time is when I told you.
Yeah.
And then after that, I figured out what it was. And then if I would get concerned again, then, you know, I'm not going to talk about it every time, because all I have to do is concentrate for a minute, and then 10 minutes later, I know she's fine, and then it's good. So then I'm not going to stress you about it every time because you think there's a problem, whereas it's really just me getting used to the patterns.
It's scary. It's like scary as the guy as well, because there's just very little I can do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Except try and be supportive, but then not be like suffocatingly like, oh, is everything okay? Is everything okay?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's important to just talk about everything as much as possible, whenever possible.
I've got a question. Do you sometimes wake up in the morning and forget you're pregnant?
No, never. But what does happen in the morning is that I don't feel that I'm pregnant, which is a very strange thing, especially when my belly's this big and she's quite heavy. But lying on my side, I guess it relieves the pressure, because when you're standing and moving around and you constantly feel this heavy weight pulling down, and then you feel her moving. But first thing in the morning, sometimes when I wake up and then I kind of get out of bed, and for a second you don't feel the weight.
Okay.
Because you've been on your side, at least for me anyway. I've been on my side, and you know, the belly's supported from the side. So then, you know, it kind of evens everything out and you can sleep. But then when I wake up, for a split second, it feels very strange, because I feel like I get out of bed to go to the bathroom, and then like that first, like getting out, the first second, I'm like, what? And then as soon as I stand on my feet, and then it hits me. But you cannot forget it.
Something that I think is really important that we mention, that we discovered, is, you know how the midwives, and we went to like pregnancy classes and stuff, and they were saying how if you don't feel the baby move for a certain amount of time, to lay on your side. Mm-hmm. But that's not what you found out.
Oh yeah, there was times. Yeah, in about the end of the second trimester is when she mentioned that, because you start feeling them. Most people do anyway in the second trimester if it's your first baby. But towards the end, there was times when I would lay on my side and on my left, because apparently that's when they say you feel them. And then it would take a while for me to feel her, and then I'd lay on my other side maybe, and it would take a while. And then I would turn on my back and just be kind of like at a 45-degree angle, like you kind of have your back up a little bit, and you're sort of half lying down. And that's when she would be the most active.
So you found for you...
So I found that for me personally, when I laid on my side, it took her a longer time to move than as if I just turned myself back, like straight up and leaning back. And that's when I could like immediately feel her. So that's another thing as well, that you have to know your own body and your own baby. You have to... Like,
I mean, I think it's normal if you've got so many different body types that different people are going to feel
Yeah,
the baby
exactly.
in different positions better.
Exactly.
Our little bells. Okay. Okay, here's a bit of a deeper one.
Okay.
Are you ready? So obviously you're going to give birth, which, even though I think about it, it's not something that I physically have to go through.
Right.
So now that we're getting closer, how close are we? 4 weeks, 5 weeks away?
Pretty much.
Estimated.
Yeah.
So how often do you actually think about the birth, the day of the whole birth thing? Given in mind Briggy doesn't want to do epidural.
Right.
You decided that wasn't a thing that we were going to do.
So I'm going all natural.
Right. So how often do you think about not the procedure, but the fucking oomph?
Right. Well, I mean, I think.
And how do you feel about it? Like, does it freak you out?
Yeah, I try not to think about it too much, other than preparing like the normal things, like the things that you have to prepare, like, you know, making sure you have the hospital bag, and you know where you're going and who you're calling and what you're doing and all that kind of stuff. So that part's important because you have to do that regardless.
Yeah.
But the thought of the pain and the birth itself, I try not to think about it, and when I do, I try to think of it in my head as like a very positive and exciting experience, because I have no idea. We just talked about it. Like, I have no idea what to expect. I don't know what kind of pain, because I've never experienced that kind of pain before.
Yeah.
So the only pains that I can compare it to are nowhere near. Like we talked about it with the midwife, you know, shutting your finger in the car door, which happened to me before. My nail fell off, and that was very painful. But that's not the same. That's not the same kind of pain.
Yeah.
And the same as, you know, if you, whatever happens, which I've never even broken anything. I've never been in an accident, so I've never felt intense pain. The most intense pain probably I ever feel is like, you know,
well, stomach cramps.
Stomach cramps, yeah, exactly. And that's probably the closest.
Bad stomach cramps.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have stomach issues, so I have bad stomach cramps.
Yeah.
But that's the most, you know, the closest thing, which I know is not going to be like a stomach cramp. It might be similar, but probably
a bit more intense.
A hell of a lot more intense, which is fine. But so I try not to think of that, because I have to just take it as it comes. And most of the time I'm like that with things that are painful. Same, you know, when we did the piercing, or if I get an injection or whatever, I don't like to freak myself out beforehand, like, oh my god, it's gonna hurt, because I know it's gonna hurt, but I'm gonna go through it anyway, so why?
So when it pops in your head, you kind of just allow it to flow through, and don't dwell on it, you just let it pass.
Yeah, exactly. I think of it as like, it's gonna happen regardless, but the end result is gonna be amazing, and that's the most important part. And I would still much rather go through the pain and feel myself being in control and being able to control it, or knowing that pain is leading somewhere. And that's why I didn't want the epidural, because for me it's scarier that somebody's telling me, oh, this is happening, that's happening, and I don't feel anything. That scares me more than going through some extreme pain for, I mean, hopefully for about a maximum of a 24-hour period.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's another thing as well. You have no idea how long you're going to be in labour for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, some people are like 24 hours, and then some people are literally 2 hours, and that's it.
Yeah,
exactly. You might give birth on the way. Can I get rid of the dog because he's doing it?
Yeah.
Come on, babe. Up. Go. Okay, let me see if we've got anything else. Got one more.
Mm-hmm.
So, what general advice would you give to a bloke, to a guy,
right,
during the pregnancy, to kind of just be? What best ways are there to be supportive towards your pregnant other half?
I mean,
does that make sense?
Yeah, the most important thing is to just, I guess, be patient and try, at least to try, because you won't actually understand.
No.
Which is completely normal and fine. And I don't think women should expect men to fully understand, just how I can understand what it's like to be kicked in the balls.
Right.
I will never know, but I'm sure I can believe what you're telling me.
Yeah.
And so that's what's important for men to try and understand and to listen to it. And if I'm telling you I'm going through this and this is what's happening, then you're like, okay, I get it. Like, I can
I think
sympathize some way or another. And if you really can't because you have no idea what they're talking about, just listen to it and just, you know.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think for me the best thing I could have done when I wasn't sure what was wrong was just to ask.
Yeah.
And just fucking ask.
Yeah.
And then if I can see that you don't want to talk about it, then just leave it for a bit and then ask later time or the next day.
Yeah.
And then obviously not judge when you say whatever you're going through, even if I can't understand what it is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think like the most important things is one of them reassuring each other in a sense that even if I can't even put into words what's wrong, which a lot of times is true, like I can just tell you that I just feel like shit.
Right.
For many other reasons, and I either don't want to go through all of them, or I can't even put it into words. I just do.
Yeah.
And then you just have, which you have, and you just, and people in general, they just have to be like, okay, well, you know, it's a tough thing to go through. What I wouldn't want to do, and what I try not to do, is not to say anything, or, you know, kind of
even going quiet.
Yes,
quiet,
and also at least just saying like it's just a bad time. You know, just so the person, like, just so you know that it's not about you, and it's not that, you know, you can't do anything about it, but I'm not mad at you, or it's nothing to do with that. It's just, I'm just in a horrible mood, and I'm just horrible right now, and just let me be horrible.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and then we'll just
move on from it.
That's the best way to be. Like, as long as there is communication.
I think that's with everything though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not just pregnancies.
But I think with us that really worked.
Okay, I think we're good. I think that's it for today. Okay, I'm going to do like the typical YouTube things.
Okay.
So we're going to do this once a week. That's the plan. Even when Bella has arrived, we're going to continue, and we're going to see where this goes. It's going to be interesting for us to look back on it, and it'll be amazing for Bella to look back on it one day. And for anyone who gives a shit, it's great as well. So comment, like, subscribe. Let us know any of your opinions and thoughts and experiences that you've had, because we want to know as well. Okay, cool. Thanks. That's it.
Cool.
Peace.